Today, we're looking at one of the fastest rises China's EV market has ever seen. Xiaomi delivered its first car just last year, and the momentum since then has been explosive. In Q2 2025, it sold about 81,000 electric vehicles, nearly triple the year before. In Q3, that jumped to 109,000, up 173% year on year. And then came October. Xiaomi delivered over 40,000 vehicles in a single month, and the YU7 SUV became China's best-selling SUV, overtaking Tesla's long-dominant Model Y. Consumers aren't just curious, they're buying faster than Xiaomi can scale. So the real question is, what's driving this surge? And can Xiaomi sustain it? The bet that changed Xiaomi forever. To understand Xiaomi's rise in the EV world, we need to rewind to March 2021. That's when founder Lei Jun announced what he called his last startup, a bold, full-scale entry into electric vehicles, backed by a $10 billion investment over 10 years. This wasn't a symbolic move. Xiaomi committed to building its own EV factories, in-house automotive R&D, autonomous driving technology, and a vertically integrated supply chain. At the same time, this marked a defining shift for the company itself. Xiaomi, long known as a savvy internet hardware player, began transforming into what it now calls a deep tech company, with chips, AI, operating systems, and EVs as its core pillars. SU7, Xiaomi's first EV statement. Fast forward 3 years to March 28, 2024. Xiaomi unveiled its first EV, the SU7 sedan, launching in Standard, Pro, and Max trims. This was not a budget car. It targeted the premium segment from day one. SU7 Pro offered up to 830 kilometers of range under China's official EV testing cycle, roughly matching the latest Tesla Model 3 long range sold in China. SU7 Max pushed firmly into high-performance territory. 101 kilowatt-hour cell-to-body battery, 800-volt silicon carbide platform, dual motors with 495 kilowatts of power, good for 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 2.78 seconds. For a first-generation car from a new brand, these specs were startling, closer to a Porsche Taycan than a typical newcomer. And Xiaomi didn't stop there. Later in 2024, it introduced the SU7 Ultra, a triple-motor halo car designed to showcase its engineering ambition. With 1,548 PS, 1,770 Nm of torque, and a 350 km per hour top speed, the Ultra delivered supercar-level performance. YU7, the breakout car. But the car that truly changed the game wasn't the super sedan. It was Xiaomi's first SUV, the YU7. Launched on June 26, 2025, the YU7 immediately became a phenomenon. 240,000 locked-in orders in the first 18 hours. Over 60% of leads from first-time car buyers. Over 40% from people who had never used a Xiaomi product before. The YU7 pulled Xiaomi far beyond its existing fan base. Its appeal was straightforward: space, comfort, a premium cabin, and strong value, backed by serious hardware. Every YU7, even the base trim, comes standard with an 800-volt platform for more efficient long-distance driving and ultra-fast charging, up to 835 kilometers of driving range, among the highest for electric SUVs in China. LiDAR hardware, Xiaomi's end-to-end assisted driving system. NVIDIA's Thor chip, capable of performing roughly 700 trillion operations per second. Independent tests by Autohome, Dongche, and BitAuto consistently ranked the YU7 at or near the top. By October 2025, the YU7 had overtaken Tesla's Model Y to become the best-selling SUV in China, signaling that Xiaomi wasn't just entering the EV market, it was reshaping it. Behind the scenes, Xiaomi's EV machine. The demand for the SU7, and especially the breakout YU7, wasn't accidental. Xiaomi scaled its EV operations at a pace few automakers have ever matched. Manufacturing at speed. Xiaomi's dedicated EV plant completed Phase 1 and ramped up quickly, supported by the company's long experience in high-volume hardware production. Phase 2 construction is already underway, targeting output in the hundreds of thousands as demand accelerates. A new retail model. To match production, Xiaomi rapidly built a nationwide EV network. By Q3 2025, it had 402 stores across 119 cities, all operating under Xiaomi's new retail model, giving it direct control over sales, service, and customer experience. Shoppers can experience Xiaomi phones, smart home products, and cars in a single integrated ecosystem. Software, intelligence, and chips. Xiaomi treats intelligence as central to its EV strategy. By Q3 2025, Its assisted driving system had been trained on over 10 million real-world driving clips, enabling fast iteration and frequent over-the-air updates that typically debut on the YU7 before rolling out to SU7 owners. This sits alongside major long-term investments in foundational technologies. XRING01, Xiaomi's first self-developed 3-nanometer flagship chip for smartphone and tablet. MiMo, its family of large AI models for reasoning, vision, and multimodal tasks. A deep push into autonomous driving, operating systems, and integrated software. All of this reflects Xiaomi's broader ambition. It isn't just assembling EVs, it wants to own the core technologies that define the modern smart car. Criticisms and real-world challenges. Xiaomi's EV push hasn't been controversy-free. Design copying allegations. Online debates often highlight similarities between SU7 and the Porsche Taycan's four-door fastback silhouette, YU7 and the Ferrari Purosangue's sharp, muscular SUV profile. These comparisons have led to questions about Xiaomi's design originality, even though many automakers borrow visual cues from luxury brands. Safety incidents and recalls. A few high-profile SU7 accidents intensified public debate over EV fire safety and the behavior of Xiaomi's assisted driving system. In March, a fatal SU7 crash in Anhui, in which the car struck a divider and caught fire, killed 3 college students and triggered nationwide discussion about EV fire risks and how Xiaomi's smart driving system responds in emergencies. In October, an SU7 Ultra crash in Chengdu went viral after bystanders struggled to open the car's flush door handles during a fire, raising questions about emergency access standards for EVs. By late 2025, regulators mandated an over-the-air safety update for more than 110,000 SU7s, citing concerns about warning strength and rare edge case behaviors. Performance claims versus real-world behavior. Beyond design and safety, some owners also questioned whether certain advertised performance features matched real-world behavior. The SU7 Ultra's headline 1,548 PS output, one of the highest in the EV industry, sparked debate after a mid-2025 software update limited access to peak power unless specific high-performance modes were enabled, leaving some drivers feeling that everyday performance did not fully reflect the marketing claims. None of these issues have slowed consumer demand so far, but they have weighed on investor sentiment and raised questions about Xiaomi's brand reputation. As Xiaomi scales its EV business, it will need to demonstrate that these concerns do not point to deeper operational or safety risks. China's EV battlefield and where Xiaomi fits. To understand Xiaomi's chances, we need to understand the market it's fighting in. China isn't just a large EV market, it is the EV market. In 2024, China sold about 30.1 million new vehicles. Around 9.49 million of those were new energy vehicles, roughly 38% of all new car sales. By October 2025, over half of all new cars sold in China in that month were either pure EVs or plug-in hybrids. This didn't happen by accident. It unfolded in 3 policy phases. 2009 to 2019, subsidy era. Generous incentives, often 50,000 to 100,000 RMB per car, jump-started battery innovation, expanded charging networks, and gave domestic automakers a multi-year head start over global rivals. 2019 to 2022, subsidy withdrawal. Cash subsidies were phased out, forcing weaker brands to exit and pushing survivors to compete on technology and product strength rather than government support. 2023 to 2026, tax exemption transition. China shifted to purchase tax exemptions worth up to 30,000 RMB per car, set to decline to 15,000 RMB in 2026. This reflects a now mature, self-sustaining industry. Xiaomi has said it will partially offset the tax reduction to support buyers during the transition. The competitive landscape. Despite being the newest entrant, with just 1.5 years of deliveries, Xiaomi is already operating at the scale of companies with 6 to 17 years of EV production experience. In the first 10 months of 2025, Xiaomi sold 315,376 vehicles, essentially catching up to XPeng and Li Auto, and far surpassing NIO. The market remains dominated by BYD, approximately 28% share, and Geely, approximately 12%. Tesla, once a star of China's EV scene, has fallen to 2 to 3% market share and slipped out of the top 10 in retail sales by October 2025. Xiaomi's early financials also signal strong competitiveness. In Q3 2025, its EV business reached a 25.5% gross margin, marking its first profitable EV quarter. Management cautions that margins may soften as the company prioritizes scale, but the early profitability underscores Xiaomi's premium positioning and strong execution. Still, Xiaomi is entering what is arguably the most competitive EV market in the world, a landscape defined by price pressure, shrinking incentives, and relentless innovation. So the real question is, how much of Xiaomi's current momentum is sustainable? To answer that, let's break down the bull case and bear case. Bull case: why Xiaomi could win. Explosive early momentum. It scaled faster than any major EV newcomer, already matching brands with 6 to 7 years of head start. A global ecosystem of over 1 billion connected devices. HyperOS connects smartphones, tablets, appliances, and now EVs, a built-in user base no new automaker has ever had. Human car home integration. Xiaomi can deliver a seamless multi-device experience across hardware and software. Brand resonance with young consumers. Tech-forward design at competitive pricing has strong appeal in China's biggest EV buying demographic. Manufacturing expertise. Xiaomi's hardware DNA helps it scale EV production far faster than typical startups. Bear case. Key risks to watch. 1. Intense competition, price pressure, and shrinking incentives. China's EV market is now showing signs of overcapacity, with reports of unused EVs piling up in storage lots as supply begins to outpace demand. At the same time, intense price wars and reduced government subsidies are putting pressure on industry-wide margins. 2. Safety concerns and regulatory scrutiny. High-profile accidents and mandated software updates means Xiaomi must prove long-term, real-world safety to sustain credibility. 3. Becoming an asset-heavy business. EV manufacturing is far more asset-heavy than Xiaomi's traditional OEM-light model, which makes it more vulnerable to demand softness or China's slower economic growth. 4. Smartphone headwinds affecting investment capacity. Smartphones still account for around 40% of Xiaomi's revenue, and the segment is facing slow growth along with margin pressure from rising component costs. If this continues, it could constrain Xiaomi's ability to sustain the heavy EV and AI R&D spending required to stay competitive. 5. Questions about originality and long-term tech leadership. Xiaomi must show it can innovate, not just execute well. Closing thoughts. Xiaomi has entered the EV market with speed and impact few expected. Its ecosystem strength, brand appeal, and execution advantage give it a meaningful shot, even in China's most competitive EV environment ever. With China pushing deep tech and advanced manufacturing, Xiaomi's shift toward premium hardware and core technologies is already delivering results. Its EV business has outperformed even optimistic forecasts. The road ahead will be volatile, but if Xiaomi continues to innovate, sustain solid margins, and demonstrate real-world safety at scale, it has the potential to become one of China's defining AI-era industrial bets and reshape what a technology-integrated car company looks like. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. This channel documents my personal learning journey across crypto, AI, and the future of finance, all in pursuit of uncovering the next 10 times or even 100 times investment opportunity. Subscribe and follow along as I explore what's coming next.